Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight.
We often picture mid-century America blindly buying into the idealized domestic lifestyle. But if you watch enough movies from this era, you realize the culture was a lot more keenly aware just how much traditional ideas of marriage and motherhood had been cynically commodified by Madison Avenue. In this 1945 farce, the publisher of a home and garden style magazine arranges a PR stunt in which his star cottagecore columnist plays host to a returning soldier at her bucolic Connecticut home. One problem: Elizabeth Lane isn't a domesticated New England housewife, but in fact a mink coat wearing single woman living in a cramped New York apartment, whose print persona is a complete fabrication. Even her recipes aren't her own, but rather the creation of an immigrant restaurateur who lives downstairs. So she agrees to hastily marry her friend, who lends his farmhouse for the occasion, and borrows the neighbor's baby to complete the ruse. But in true screwball fashion, their civil wedding is interrupted by the earlier than expected arrival of their guest. And wouldn't you know, Lane falls in love with a handsome soldier. One might expect dated spinster jokes. A woman who doesn't know how to cook a meal or wash a baby? How outrageous! And true, these moments are played for laughs. That would have hit harder for an audience at the time. But refreshingly, the movie never really judges Barbara Stanwyck's character for not fitting the mold of a traditional housewife. Instead, it flips the script of 40s gender norms, framing the man who gladly helps out with these maternal tasks as the more desirable love interest, compared to the aloof, career-obsessed, breadwinning patriarch. The absurdity is redirected at Stanwyck's shrewd and somewhat unscrupulous publisher, played by the ever-corpulent Sidney Greenstreet. Unaware that Elizabeth Lane's idealized portrait of rural American womanhood is in fact a work of fiction, he makes a special business arrangement with Mr. Lane.
23 pages of new advertisements, all baby food. Our fan mail went up 100%.
100%? Think of it.
Other new mothers all over the country were interested. That is the key of my success in the magazine field. Human interest, home appeal. Do you follow me?
Yes, go ahead. It's very interesting.
One baby, 200,000. Two babies, 400,000. Babies boost circulation. Now, Betty Kane is going to have her baby in September. We can steal their thunder and boost circulation at the same time if we beat her to it.
Beat her to it?
Have another baby, my dear Sloan. Have another baby. Any hopes?
Oh, Mr. Yardley, Elizabeth's a very busy woman, and having babies to boost your circulation takes time.
Take all the time you need, my dear sir. All the time you need.
Oh, thank you.
Even the miracle of childbirth is itself a product for consumption and profit in the post-war economy. And to put a finer point on it, Yeardley offers Stanwyck's husband, an urbane but milquetoast architect, an editorial position covering ready-made suburban homes being built in anticipation of the coming baby boom. The movie portrays an American labor force on the cusp of transition. Every female character in the movie is a working woman, from Stanwyck to the Southern Fried naval nurse plying men with home cooking, to the local mothers who leave their babies in the care of Una O'Connor's crotchety housekeeper while they work in the munitions factory. As men return to the workforce, 1945 was the last time that would ever be the norm until many decades later. The ending reinforces the status quo just enough that I wouldn't call it subversive. Ultimately, Stanwyck's character conforms to the social order and embraces her role as wife and mother with a returning World War II veteran, though strikingly, the film allows her to do it on her own terms and keep her career, even in spite of, all the lies and unethical behavior unbecoming of someone writing for print journalism. Christmas in Connecticut is so wedded to its time that it resists any reinterpretation or update, and believe me, they tried. The 1992 made-for-TV remake, directed by, I'm not kidding you, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a complete misfire, in part because audiences have, ostensibly, become too media savvy for the fake housewife gambit to even matter in a modern context.
And we're back! Alex, you are insane!
Excuse me? Alex.
I can't cook.
What?
Still, there's something very familiar about Elizabeth Lane in the age of the influencer, where content creators monetize seemingly every aspect of their personal lives, and platforms encourage the same kind of parasocial relationship Stanwyck's character has with her readers. Hell, in recent years we've seen on Instagram and TikTok the rise of trad living, a reactionary nostalgia for the purity of the mid-century nuclear family. The kind of commercialized image that this movie playfully satirizes. Of course, it's not really a truth bomb to say that lifestyle influencers are first and foremost marketing brands designed to sell you stuff, or that authenticity on the internet is dead and everything you see on social media is performative in some way. We all sprinkle in a bit of fiction of ourselves when we're on camera or behind the mic, whether it's filters, set dressing, vocal intonation, or on the extreme end of that spectrum, presenting yourself as a queer scholar by sitting under purple lighting and reading the plagiarized words of actual academics. At least when Barbara Stanwyck passes off other people's work as her own, she knows to ask permission first. Elizabeth Lane's struggle to reconcile her public-facing persona with her own true self has gone from novel screwball conceit in 1945 to something broadly relatable to nearly everyone who puts themselves out online in the year 2023. Not necessarily in the sense of con men or grifters like James Somerton, more that everyone now has a separate, manicured, projected version of themselves that's inevitably shaped by the algorithm of the media platform that hosts them. You're in the attention economy, and whether or not one makes money off of it, or even has an audience, there is pressure to live up to that constructed ideal, which once again at its most extreme has led to utterly deranged real-life situations that would be considered way too farcical for even a movie like Christmas in Connecticut. The paradox of the screwball comedy is that their plots are built on a series of lies, half-truths, and misunderstandings, yet are ultimately about the characters learning to live as their authentic selves. I think that's why they feel so relevant in an age that's so performative and flooded with noise and misinformation. In that regard, Christmas in Connecticut strikes the perfect balance that you want out of a holiday film. It's equal parts quaint and timeless, bitingly cynical, but also earnest and big-hearted. It may not be held in the same reverence as It's a Wonderful Life or Miracle on 34th Street, but it nevertheless kicked off that whole golden age of Christmas movies.
It may not be today, it may not be tonight, but I'm sure it will be all right.